accident of birth. What's up, guys? Maidenslave here, and today we talk accident of birth. Yes, this is when Bruce finally got good. So let's get a few obvious things out of the way. Well, first of all, I decided to kind of change up the scenery a little bit. I don't know, I just felt like this was a good shot. Whatever. So let's get a few things out of the way. Bruce Dickinson, as I said, the alternative thing didn't work out, and I said why in my Skunkworks review. So Skunkworks disbanded, and Bruce decided to start all over, and it was with Roy Z. He rejoined with Roy Z. Roy Z had a lot of musical ideas for Bruce. He felt like Bruce was going down the wrong direction, of course, of which he was right. He felt like, and Bruce felt like, he needed to get back into metal. And along with this came Adrian Smith, obviously the ex-guitarist of Iron Maiden, who was in his own band at the time called Psycho Motel, but I don't know if it was not going that well or not, but he had enough time to join up with Bruce. And pretty much when you get Adrian and Bruce in the same room writing together, you're already gonna have you're already gonna have some good shit. But then when you bring in Roy Z, you're gonna have some really good shit. And the album is really good shit. This is probably most notably agreed to be Bruce Dickinson's shining moment of his solo career. It's pretty agreed, pretty known that it is probably his best solo album, if not his most popular solo album. And it's kind of, in a weird way, a self-titled solo album, because he himself was an accident of birth, of which he didn't even find out until he was in his 30s. His mom tried to get an abortion, but it failed, and so that just makes you think, about abortion for a second. I don't mean to get political, but what happens if she would have had that abortion? We wouldn't have had Bruce Dickinson. But anyways, let's get to the fucking album. The artwork is badass. The original artwork is the one that I like a lot. It's the red cover. It has like the puppet coming out of that guy's stomach. But there is some alternative artwork of like the puppet on the cross. And something pretty cool to note is that he actually had Derek Riggs do the artwork for this album, if you guys were wondering. If you pay attention to Derek Riggs' style, it does look very Derek Riggs-ish-esque. So the artwork, first of all, is fucking awesome. The production is very good. It's his heaviest album at this point. Like I said, he's back into metal completely. And, this is the first time that we got to hear Bruce with a very, very heavy band behind him. Iron Maiden's heavy, but, his band on this album, the next few albums, sounds very, American, kind of thrash-oriented at times. So it's an excellent album. So let's just go down the line here. It starts out with a song called Freak, and that's just kind of a setting. That's a very fitting song name to start out this album, called Accident of Birth, a song called Freak. And the song itself is fucking awesome. It's sweet. It's a really, really good opener, This album is just it's very upbeat. It has almost the same kind of DNA and feeling that Brave New World had on it. And, that's no surprise, because Adrian and Bruce had a lot to do with Brave New World itself. So this is just a great album. Freak is a great opener. Really upbeat song, kind of just straight to the point. The second song on the album is called Tolic 7 Arrival. It's only about 30 seconds, maybe a little bit more, and it's just kind of a musical little part, and I kind of find it unnecessary, to be honest. I skip it most of the time. It's just kind of there. I don't know really why. But at the same time, it's short enough that, a lot of the times I won't even realize that it's on before it's over. The next song is called Star Children, and this is one of the more kind of weaker songs on the album, although it has a really good chorus. But once again, what's the big surprise with a good chorus from Bruce Dickinson? I listen to it. I don't skip it. It's not a skip, but it is one of the weaker moments on the album. It doesn't stand out so much, but it is a great song. The next song on the album is called "Taking the Queen," and that goes into the Dark Side of Aquarius, which is a very famous Bruce Dickinson song. And this whole kind of "Taking the Queen" and Dark Side of Aquarius is definitely one of the highlights on the album. "Taking the Queen" starts out slower. It's a little bit more of kind of a ballady type thing, and I really like it. Bruce's vocals are back, like 100% back from where they left off in the '80s on this album. It's just really, really good shit. And "Taking the Queen" is a very, very good song. It's kind of underrated because it gets overshadowed by the Dark Side of Aquarius, but they work together really well. And it is a great song. And obviously, yeah, it goes into the Dark Side of Aquarius, which is a great song. It is, it's like, I don't know. It's a really long song, and it is kind of epic-y-ish, but it's not a Steve Harris epic. It's of its own nature. It's a really good long song. All the parts feel necessary. It's kind of upbeat. It goes through different musical stages, and it's a really, really good song. And yeah, it's just a really good song. There you go. The next song on the album is called "Road to Hell." I believe it was a single, and I know for sure it was the video. And this song, too, is very popular because it is a really good song. It's really, really good. And it just has Bruce and Adrian written all over it. The heavier parts on this album were written mainly by Roy Z. He writes music very heavy. I think he down-tunes his guitar to like D or something. But "Road to Hell" is Bruce and Adrian, and it has it written all over. It's very melodic, very straight to the point. Sounds kind of 2 Minutes to Midnight, ish. There's one little thing that I do want to note about it. It is very good and stuff, but there's one thing that I want to note about it. It's kind of a nitpick. The middle section, the musical interlude, when it gets really into it, it kind of just stops, and then it has an Adrian playing a little guitar line, and it's pretty much just kind of the same thing on the song "The Prisoner." Except kind of watered down a little bit. They just used almost the same formula. But you know what? At the same time, for that, I like it because it sounds like old Maiden, but it has a refreshing sound to it. It doesn't sound like it's from the '80s, and it is one of my favorite Bruce Dickinson songs. I don't mean to step on it. It is a good song. I just wanted to note that. Next song on the album is called "Man of Sorrows." And this is a very, very, this is a ballad, pretty much. It is a ballad, and it is, and it's a good ballad, too. It's very kind of like, Tears of the Dragon, although I don't think it's better than Tears of the Dragon. It is a really good song. Yeah, it's just really slow. It has very, very good vocal performances by Bruce, really good writing credits I know Roy Z had a lot to do with the writing on this song. And it's just a really good ballad. It's a really good song. He also recorded it in Spanish, which it's one of my guilty pleasures. I actually enjoy a Spanish version of this song more than the English version, and I'll probably put a link in the description of the Spanish version, which is also available on the bonus disc. Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure. I actually enjoy it a little bit more than the English one, and I think the reason why I enjoy it more than the English one is because I don't speak Spanish. A lot of people that I know that speak Spanish, I can't even speak English. Motherfuck. A lot of people that I know that actually speak Spanish just kind of think of it as a joke because apparently he has a really bad Spanish accent. So if you don't speak Spanish, you might like it. It kind of adds a different flavor to the song. Anyways, the next song on the album is the self-titled track, "Accident of Birth." Now this is the first Bruce Dickinson song I ever heard, and it's very heavy. I remember the first time I heard it, I got chills because I was already into heavy music at this point, and I always kind of was interested to hear Bruce Dickinson with a very heavy band behind him. And once again, Maiden's, it's not that Maiden's not heavy, they just don't, I don't know, they're just not that heavy. They don't have the double bass, drum shit, and the really, really heavy distorted guitar. So this is the first Bruce song I ever heard. And motherfuck, it is an amazing song, and I really, really enjoy it, and it has a really good chorus in there. It does, however, suffer a little bit from chorus retardation, but I don't think it kills the song. Really great song, one of the heavier moments on the album. I'm sure that most of you guys have heard it already. Next song on the album is "The Magician," and this song is very similar to kind of "Freak" and Road to Hell. It's very upbeat. straight to the point, has a really good chorus, really good vocal performance, and it is a great song. One of my favorite moments on the album. It's one of my favorite songs, and you know, just to note a little bit, they didn't fucking put it on the best of Bruce Dickinson. Now, I kind of understand they probably wanted to make that a little bit more diverse or whatever, but you know, Tattooed Millionaire was on there, and not this song. This song's really, really good, but whatever. Now, the next song is called Welcome to the Pit, and this is my least favorite song on the album, and the reason why it's my least favorite song on the album is because it's just the most meh song. It kind of just, I don't know, it's not terrible, but it's just kind of, I guess, boring. There's nothing great about it. You know, it's just kind of there. Again, one of those type of songs. Next song on the album is called Omega. Now, this is another song that feels like, I don't know how to put it, because it is a great song. It's a slower song. It's a more ballady type song, but it's another song, I don't know if you guys are going to be on board with me, that feels like maybe it should have been a B-side. It is a good song, but it just kind of, for me, doesn't fit in the framework of this album, because we already have Man of Sorrows, and the rest of the album's upbeat, and we already have Taken the Queen, and that's really good. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's just kind of dragging on at this point, but it is a great song nonetheless. And the last song on the album is called Arc of Space. And there's no other way to describe this song without saying that it is absolutely beautiful. It has a very, very good intro, very good acoustic intro. Very kind of sounds like I don't want to sound racist. Kind of like Mexican music. I don't know, Spanish oriented, because you know Roy Z is he's Spanish, so he's a really good Spanish guitarist, acoustic, and it is a beautiful song. And it's one of Bruce's best vocal performances, and it's a great way to end off a great album. And it's also an interesting way to end off a great album because it is a very upbeat album. But yeah, okay, Accident of Birth is a motherfucking good album, and if for any of you out there that haven't really gotten into any Bruce, and you're a really big fan of Maiden, this is the #1 album to start with, trust me. This is like it's like the Bruce Dickinson solo album. It's the one that you want to get. It's his, probably like his Number of the Beast or his Rain and Blood or whatever you want to call it. It's a really, really great metal album, and it just, you know, there's something about Bruce's solo work that you don't get from Maiden, and I don't know how to explain it, but you know, when Bruce is in Maiden, it's just more of kind of an impressive thing. He's very, like, Maiden collectively is like a fucking super group, and they do epic fucking impressive ass shit. But you know, when Bruce is in a solo band, it just seems like he's more, you know, more vulnerable, even in his vocal performances. It seems like he's more down to earth, he's more on our level, he's more kind of with us. I get that feeling from his solo music, and that's what I like so much about his solo music. So if you think that, oh, you know, his solo music is just like Maiden but dumbed down, it's not. It has its own flavor, it has its own life. And it provides, you know, he provides very good music. Him, Adrian, and Roy Z kind of create their own creature outside of the Maiden thing. That's really good. So good, in fact, that a lot of people still want him to keep doing solo albums with those guys, and he actually ended up doing another solo album after joining back in with Maiden, you know, Tyranny of Souls. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Anyways, Accident of Birth is a great album, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.